All right, y'all, what is up, family? How are y'all doing tonight, man? I know that a lot of people asked me to do this, but here's the thing. I may sound like a wrestler. One of my number one comments that I get from people is yo, JD, you sound like Randy Savage. Back in the day, before I grew the beard, people were like, yo, JD, you look like The Undertaker. I literally went and looked up The Undertaker because I thought The Undertaker was some SoundCloud rapper that I just never heard of. I don't know that much about wrestling. I'm going to be real upfront about that. It was never something that I was super into as a kid or whatever, and I definitely don't watch it as an adult, but what's going on with Vince McMahon is absolutely beyond insane, y'all. This dude, this dude is a creep, man. Vince McMahon is not a good person. There's not a single iota of good person up in this dude after reading what me and Jax have read. We did some research. Thank you to Jax for doing a ton of research on this. There is so much stuff that I have to present to you guys. I think you guys are going to think this is wild. I personally do. And I think there's a huge chance, just going to let you know right up front, I think there's a huge chance that the feds are going to get involved and Vince McMahon is going to face charges because there is a lot of crimes being committed everywhere around this dude and by this dude personally. So first, before we get into this, man, I really want to say what is up to our mods, man. Abby is in the chat today. I don't know if Trev has made it yet. Three Flying Monkeys, what's up, family? It's been a minute since I've seen you. Big love and respect to you, homie. Our sister Blue is here. If you aren't following The Outlaw Feminist, she has an amazing channel. She talks about a lot of wide range of stuff, man. She talks about the human trafficking in Portland. She talks a lot about the 1% biker clubs. Everything she does is on point, and her community is kind of a family with our community. So if you're not following her, go and check her out, man. I promise you, you're going to be happy that you did. Also, I want to say what's up to Alora Hancock. We got Sean Blue in the chat. We got Lucas Henry in the chat, man. This is great. All y'all family, Harley Quinn, you guys are the reason that I keep doing this, man, because you guys are amazing. And it takes, it's a pretty strict schedule considering owning two businesses and still getting on here, with the frequency that I do and doing lives and all of this. But I do it because you guys are a beautiful and great community and you guys bring so much into my life. So I want to thank you for being a part of me and Jax's life and a part of my recovery and a part of this community for each other, man. Great work on the last one, by the way. I know that somebody was struggling and I watched each and every one of you guys reach out and support them in the comments. That was incredible. That's what this community is about. I am so grateful that I have you sitting right there. I am pointing at you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this with all of us, man. So getting into this whole thing, man, because there's a lot. There's a lot. So the victim in this situation, the one that came forward that kind of broke this whole thing open, her name is Janelle Grant, and her parents both died at the same time, a tragic thing, and she was out there alone in the world. She was really going through it. She was having a really difficult time, and she didn't know how she was going to be able to, she lost their home. She wasn't able to pick up the mortgage. She was living out of an apartment, and she didn't know how she was going to make it financially. Someone introduced her to Vince McMahon and asked if he would help her, and he was like, yeah, creep, bro, creep. He offered her a job, and he kept slow playing her out, and he started putting her in positions where he would have some sort of control over her. Now, we all know what grooming is here. I don't need to let you guys know what grooming is. I think we're all old enough to know what grooming is, but that's exactly what was going on with this woman. And she's not a child, but bro, this dude is old, he's rich, and he has a long history of doing this with women. Let's just say somebody out there is yo, this girl just wants money. Hold up, buddy. There is a long history of this. In fact, she is not the only one that he was paying out at the same time that he was paying her out because he's had so many of these allegations. It turns out that there were 4 separate settlements that he was paying out. Hers was $3 million. The total was supposedly $12 million, but a further investigation led them to understand that he owed these women $19.6 million. So understand that these claims, he's admitted to this stuff. He's admitted to this stuff out of court, and he gives these women MDAs, and he's like, look, I will pay you a lot just don't say anything. And they sign these NDAs. The reason this woman came forward about what happened to her is he broke the agreement of the NDA. For those of you who don't know what an NDA is a non-disclosure agreement. It means that you won't talk about the certain things that are stipulated in that agreement. And if you do, they can come back on you with legal and financial action. But if the person who, if either side breaks it, that nullifies that agreement and it leaves the other one open up to, more financial compensation. So he's already admitted to these things. He's already admitted to them. And he agreed to pay people out so that this wouldn't get out because he does not want this to get out. It includes sexual assault, trafficking, emotional abuse. It probably should have had more charges in it. And when the feds get involved in its actual criminal charges, I highly believe that there will be more charges involved than just the ones that she's alleging for this financial lawsuit, because there's a lot of laws that he broke here. There were times where he locked her in a room with him and another man and forced her into the devil's threesome. That's the bad one, bro. That's where it's two dudes. Bro, you just using that woman because you want a sword fight. That's all that's happening right there. But McMahon, during this period of time, during this threesome that was non-consensual, she told them no, and McMahon told her no means yes. Disgusting individual, disgusting, not even a human being. During this particular incident, he defecated on Miss Grant. Defecated. He dumped a grumpy on her as part of this threesome. What? In the middle? It's crazy that he literally took a crap on this woman while him and another man were graping. It was a grape, bro, hands down. She said no, they said no means yes, and he copped a squat on top of her in a sign of dominance. It's all in the paperwork, too. You can read all of this. Every bit of this is in paperwork. So let's see. It was a $3 million settlement that he agreed to pay to this woman so that this wouldn't get out, so that me and you wouldn't know about this, so that we wouldn't be talking about this right now. He was willing to pay $3 million, which is easy to do when your net worth is $2.7 million. And that's what his estimated net worth is. Now, anytime you look up somebody's net worth on the internet, it's not really accurate. I know most of the time when you look up somebody's net worth, it's going to be wildly off. But if it says $2.7 billion, dude's a billionaire. We can assume that he's a billionaire. So sliding this chick $3 million isn't really a big deal. But the other part of that $3 million is he also needed to pay for her healthcare physically because he did so much physical damage to this woman, and her mental health because she has severe PTSD from this situation. She's not a functional human being after the assaults that she's been through. He took her across state lines to have other men assault her, which is where the trafficking comes into play with this. Now, he was paying this until the SEC and federal prosecutors launched investigations into his misuse of the WWE company funds to make the payments. So he wasn't even making these payments personally. He was funneling money from the WWE that wasn't his to spend to make these payments. And he's a billionaire. That's how cheap this bitch boy is. And that's what actually got the feds looking at him initially. And they did find that he was doing this. So they've got some stuff in the works for him. That's why I say Vince McMahon is getting federal charges. He's going to. The feds have already investigated him and they found these crimes. He is definitely going to get federal charges. There's just no two ways about it. This is in the works. From my experience, any rational human being would be able to understand that they're already looking at you like, look, man, I don't jaywalk while I have my phone in my pocket because the Secret Service busted me 4.5 years ago. And once the feds is on you, bro, it's over. It's game over. They're not Velcro. It don't pull off, dog. You know what I'm saying? Once them feds is on you, you can assume that they watching everything you doing for an extended period of time if they find anything faulty about you. If they look at you and they have you under investigation and none pops, bro, then they might back off. They might back off after a while, but if they actually get you on something and they know that you're that type of dude, they're gonna be on you like super glue, bro. They're gonna be on you like a bad wig on Trump, bro, just hands down. So she stopped receiving these payments when the feds started investigating him because he was like, yo, I gotta stop doing this. The feds is on me, which is the smart thing to do. If the feds is on you, if you're committing a crime and you know that the feds is on you, it's time to stop. You know what I'm saying? Biden should have stopped sniffing kids. He's not smart. McMahon was like kind of smart about this, and he was like, yo, I need to stop making these payments. But instead of doing them himself, he just stopped payment, which was a breach of contract. Now, this woman was in the middle of mental health services. This woman was in the middle of physical medical services, and all of that stopped because this dude stopped payment instead of taking it on himself like he should have been the entire time. And she didn't get her payments either. He was supposed to be paying her out $3 million over a period of time in settlement payments. A lot of the time, if you get a settlement and you have to sign an NDA, that's kind of how they do it. Whether, if it's 10 grand and they be paying you $2,500 a week or something like that, whatever it be. But he just stopped completely. So her healthcare and her mental health care services ceased. Now, this woman she put herself into extended inpatient mental health treatment for her PTSD after these assaults by these men. And then she was supposed to have aftercare. She was having flashbacks. She was getting physical symptoms like rashes. She lost a huge amount of weight, and she wasn't a big girl in the first place. She had insomnia, panic attacks, nightmares, and she couldn't leave her house. So like she did the inpatient treatment. She still wasn't back to whole at all whatsoever. She's going to live with this for the rest of her life. That's the thing a lot of people don't understand is when you sexually assault somebody, you are giving them a life sentence in a certain respect. They're going to live with that for the rest of their life. And this poor girl is definitely going to have layers and degrees. I'm proud of the way that she's working on herself and trying to get her, what was done to her fixed. But it's still, for the rest of her life, she's going to have that struggle. Now, the dude who did the threesome with him, his name is John Laurinaitis. He's listed as a co-defendant in this. He is an attorney, or what was he for the WWE? He was like one of the higher ups, like a director in the WWE. He's in too. I believe that the feds are going to be looking into him too. And this isn't his first accusations either. So while in power, McMahon was accused of covering up a murder, graping his first female referee, sexually assaulting a tanning salon employee, and allowing the widespread sexual abuse of underage boys in the WWE community, amongst other charges. This dude has a long-standing history of allowing these types of crimes to go on. He's basically the Epstein of wrestling, dog. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? This dude is like orchestrating people getting their lives wrecked. According to the filing, McMahon coerced Grant into that three-way. He defecated on her head, by the way. He forced him and Laurinaitis, forced her into this threesome. They locked the door with her in the room. She said no. They said no means yes. McMahon literally took a crap on this woman's head. And they continued to do terrible stuff to her. They assaulted her for an hour and a half before letting her shower. An hour and a half. Grant's lawsuit is a 67-page filing. That's insane. That's a huge lawsuit. So the lawsuit was filed in 2004 or 2024. This just happened. This is breaking news because he was paying up until 2022. So she was able to get her mental health services. She was able to get her health care. She was able to support herself even though she's like too traumatized to leave the house. But all of a sudden it stopped and she literally waited 2 years. He slow played her out for 2 years. And it's just crazy. It's crazy. She waited that long to actually file this. Joe Earl says, thank you for keeping us informed. I appreciate you, big dog. Hell yeah. If y'all could do me a favor and just wait on the super chats until we're done, because if I get sidetracked, I'm like a ferret. on meth in a microwave, bro. I'll bounce off walls. It's a bad deal. But Mr. Waifu Taker says, as a wrestling fan, I got back into wrestling because I didn't want Vince to ruin pro wrestling for me anymore. I can't wait for him to get the business. Facts, dude. And look, here's another thing. So one of the WWE's biggest sponsors was Slim Jim. And they had been sponsoring them for literally years. Like, everybody keeps asking me to say, step into a Slim Jim, because I guess Randy Savage did ads, right? I do remember seeing those ads of Randy Savage breaking a Slim Jim and saying, step into a Slim Jim. So they've been sponsoring them for years. When this stuff came out, they stopped their sponsorship while he was involved. As soon as he stepped down, they reactivated their sponsorship. Not even Slim Jim, who's been with them for years, wants to be involved with them while this dude is in there, because there's so much stuff that's foul. Vito the Joker says Vince was mowed by his mom as a kid. I understand that might be something that's true, and that's terrible. If he was a victim as a child, I think that, like, a lot of people, a lot of people who make other children victims were victimized as children, and that's heartbreaking, and that's sad, and that hurts my heart, but it's no goddamn excuse. I was victimized as a child, and it sent me the exact opposite way. I'm gonna be really honest with you guys. Like, I have this I spent a lot of my life after being molested as a kid not feeling safe. So as an adult, I turned myself into somebody who wouldn't feel vulnerable and who was also in a place where I could protect other kids so they wouldn't ever have to feel the way that I felt. I don't know how much of my life has been defined by that experience when I was a child. Did I get a shitload of tattoos and go to prison and all of this stuff? Was somewhere subconsciously, was I trying to become some sort of monster where, I could never be a victim again, and I could actually help to make sure that other kids didn't get victimized? That might have been part of my psychological makeup subconsciously. I ask myself these questions about myself all the time. But, people who are victimized, it's no excuse to victimize other people. And this dude is a scum of the earth jerk off, bro. There's also the Brock Lesnar thing. Brock Lesnar, he was gifted this woman, this poor woman, Janelle Grant. He was told, because they were trying to get him to re-sign for a new contract, and McMahon told him, Janelle Grant will do whatever you want. Now, McMahon is a married man. And so he was talking with her on the phone, and he wanted her to send embarrassing, humiliating pictures of herself. And as soon as he was able to get her to send those pictures, he ended up messaging her, calling her a bitch, and just crazy abuses. And she was also trafficked to another state to be able to pleasure McMahon or Lesnar at one point, I believe. It's a little bit unclear whether or not they actually met up, but she was taken out of state to be given to Brock Lesnar, and I'm not sure if they ever actually sealed that deal or not. But Lesnar is in some trouble too. Lesnar's not in as much trouble as McMahon because he's not in the financial end of this. What they might be able to get him on is, participating in the trafficking, but it would be much smaller charges than what, McMahon and Laurinaitis are going to be caught up on. I really foresee federal charges for Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis in the very near future. I think this is 100% something that is going to go down. I don't see any other way about it because the feds are already involved on this. Tommy B, what's up, man? Tommy says, I had a buddy introduce me to some dark weirdo stuff when we was 6. It dawned on me later in life that he was mowed by his dad, and if I ever find out he did anything to anyone now that we're in our 20s, I'm gonna get that ass, bro. No excuse. Zero excuse, man. Zero excuse. And I'm gonna be really honest with you, a lot of the times, if somebody is showing you at that young of an age those types of things, they are probably trying to groom you for some type of stuff too. So I'm very grateful that you got out of that situation, man. There's no excuse ever. There's never an excuse. If somebody hurts you in a terrible way when you're innocent and you're a child, I am so sorry for you. I know how that feels. If you pass that on to another child, if you feel all of that inside of you and your reaction is, I need to pass this to somebody else, I hate you. You're not a person. We need to put you in a wood chipper. Seriously. Daniel Sullivan said, at work at the moment, but definitely going to rewatch when I get home. Much love, y'all. Daniel, I completely understand we talking about some wild, dark stuff here, and I'm sure that you probably don't want anybody at work to hear what we're talking about. Big love and respect to you, brother. Glad that you're here. So, yeah, these hush money payments, that's going to be a huge thing with the feds. That's what they were originally investigating him on, was, it was the SEC and the federal prosecutors launched an investigation into misuse of WWE company funds to make payments. So basically, he was stealing from the company. He wasn't allowed to use that money for what he was using that money for. That was not his money to spend to pay off settlements to girls so they wouldn't come forward about what he had done to them. And, when the feds are involved, federal prosecutors don't miss, dog. When the feds get involved, the feds have a 98.2% conviction rate. They have carte blanche with the budget. They have the best of everything as far as being able to, hem somebody up. Their investigators, their forensics, like, they will go all out. And they don't care how much they spend because the feds have all the budget in the world. And they will build a case. Sometimes it takes them years to build a case. Like, I have friends who got busted and they were investigating my one homie for 2.5 years before they jumped him in a supermarket parking lot. My buddy was in the supermarket parking lot. They had been collecting evidence on him for 2.5 years. He's walking out of Safeway, which is like a West Coast supermarket for those of you who aren't out here on the West Coast. It happened on Coburg Road in Eugene, Oregon. You can look this up. I'm telling you, this is crazy. So they ran up on him and they went to go throw a flash grenade into his Cadillac because he's known to be armed and dangerous. He runs with a very serious gang out here in the Pacific Northwest, and they throw a flash grenade at his window, and it was like halfway up, halfway down, and they threw it too low, and it bounced off, and it bounced into the parking lot. It ended up knocking out an old lady. The feds knocked out an old lady trying to take my homeboy unconscious so they could get him because they knew that he was a threat. They knew that if he could get to his gun, he would go out like, just in a blaze. He would have gone out in a blaze of glory trying to take as many of them out as he possibly could. So they tried to just knock him unconscious, and they ended up knocking an old lady unconscious, and they hemmed him up, and they were expecting him to have a gun. They ain't find no gun. They were expecting him to have large quantities of dope. He ain't had no dope on him, bro. They just got him with, I think he had like $6 or $7 grand in his pocket. But they ended up taking a literal SWAT tank through his backyard fence and raiding the house. And they ran up in the house and they got a safe. And everything they were looking for was in there. The dope was in there. The guns were in there. There were multiple firearms in there. And they were talking to him. They were like, well, we got a bunch of prints off of this. So, we're going to get you one way or the other. He ended up confessing because he knew that some of his homeboys had their fingers in that safe as well. And he ended up taking, he was looking at like 25 in the feds. We hired him a dope lawyer. He ended up doing 10, getting out. Right now, he's in a sober living. He's doing amazing. He got like certified as a welder. He's like welding and kicking ass and doing amazing and living a great life. But, when the feds want you, the feds are going to get you. Normally, when you go into a federal trial, like Mcmahon is going to be going into, you're not talking about if you're going to prison or not. You're talking about how long are you going to prison. That's generally what the deal is when you're dealing with the feds, because they go get you, boy. It's not the state of Florida or the state of New York versus you. It's United States of America versus your ass, boy. They go get you. They go get you. God, I'm going to be talking again about the Diddy stuff. Because there's been a lot of new stuff coming out about Diddy and Mcmahon and Usher. You remember Diddy, just had this lawsuit filed on him for 30 mil, and this dude is not trying to settle out like these ladies did. This dude wants all of it exposed. He was grabbing dude's anus. He slipped stuff in dude's drink, and dude woke up butt naked in a bed with Diddy and a couple other people who are unmentioned, but names were redacted. It's possible that it's Meek Mill and Usher, but he woke up and his booty hole hurt. who just be grabbing dudes' anuses. Like, we working together on an album. It's like, bro, yo, I'm gonna give you the sickest beat. Yeah, bro, that's what's up. Bad Boys for life. Grab your anus. What? Why you do that? You know, bro, Bad Boys in this bitch. Grabs the anus. Totally inappropriate stuff. But a lot of this stuff is coming out, and a lot of it now is also pointing at Jay-Z. So pretty soon we're going to be talking about that whole debacle, because there's a lot of angles going on with that whole thing too. But I want to be thoroughly informed, and I don't want to be coming with like information that's half-assed or anything like that, unless I could just present it to you and say, like, this is what's being alleged, you know what I'm saying, and be very clear about what is fact and what is allegation. With this, with McMahon, this stuff is stuff that he's basically agreed that he did. He paid out. Anytime somebody pays out, I automatically 100% think it's safe to assume that they did that shit. Who's gonna pay millions of dollars out to somebody for something they ain't done, bro? Like, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. If somebody takes me on some weirdo shit, and tries to hit me up and tries to put me on some weirdo shit, bro, I'm gonna fight it till the end. Till the bitter end, dog. You know, like, I'm gonna hit every appeal. Harley Quinn said, I don't understand how men with daughters do this to women. This is. I don't understand how men who love their daughter, who love their sister, who love their mother, who've ever loved a woman in their life could ever put a woman through this or a man through this. Why didn't she go to the police immediately? There's a lot wrapped up in that. She had bills to pay. This was the only way that she was making money. She was pretty terrified. We could get into all of that. I don't have my notes on all of that right now. But a lot of people don't want to come forward, because if you're coming forward against somebody, do you really think you want to come forward against a billionaire? Like, you're gonna think about it 2-3 times. He's famous. He's a billionaire. he could hire every lawyer on the planet to come after you. There's a lot wrapped up in why victims don't come forward in cases like this a lot of the time. All you need is a heart virus to beat Goku. Hey, brother, I was just stopping by to say hi and send love. Had an opportunity to watch. Nevada got snowed in, and I'm stuck in Carson. My daughter says hi. Big love and respect to you and your daughter. We woke up to a little bit of snow the last couple days out here in Oregon as well, man, but luckily it burned off, man. Big love and respect to y'all. Mad Cartoon said, thank you for being a real angel and speaking up to monsters like this. Karma is real. Big love to you, Cartoon, man. Big love. Canada Jane said, have you heard of Alan Legier from NB Canada? I have not. Yo, guys, we got YouTube royalty. We got YouTube family. My brother, my homie is here right now. We got Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Chad Marks is in the building with us right now, man. Chad, it's so good to have you here. If you guys haven't checked Chad out, I'm sure that you have. Y'all probably been hip to Chad way longer than you've been hip to me, dude. This dude has been grinding. And he does amazing work, not only here on YouTube, but this dude is a paralegal and he owns his own paralegal company. And they are helping people fight unfair sentencing in the feds and have been for years, man. He was doing that inside federal prisons. This dude was helping people get set free with sentencing that was unfair. You know, I'm a huge fan of Chad's, but he's also a good friend. So check Blood on the Razor Wire TV out, y'all. We got Shooter McGee here. The Ashley Mascaro story, the WWE wrestler that committed suicide. Also Ryback, U-Channel. He's been right about Vince. Yeah, there is so much involved with this Vince McMahon case. I've been trying to play catch up and trying to learn who these people are, because like I said, I've never been like I've never been hugely into wrestling. But I am hugely into crime. I am hugely into, you know, the whole thing fascinates me. It fascinates me how all of this stuff works. It's pretty incredible when these huge cases come out. So I'm catching up. Until the Light Takes Us said, I'm a pro wrestler from New York. The entire industry has hated this guy. Everyone in the locker room from New York to Maine is celebrating his firing. Big love. Big love right back to you, man. So I don't think this has been a secret. I think that the industry, the people around him, have known this for a while about Vince McMahon. And like, if you look at him, bro, he looks sus. Like, come on, bro. That dude looks sus as hell. So I'm not at all surprised to hear that, bro. Thank you for letting us know. I really appreciate you. Firewall Dragon said, I wonder if they're going to get Johnny Ace as well. He's pretty involved in this. I don't believe his claims of being a victim. I'm not hip to that. I'm going to have to research that. Thank you so much. Chad said, appreciate you, bro. We appreciate you and everything that you do, man. You're a hero. I know that there's people out there with their families right now, brother, because of the hard work that you put in. And, man, 100% respect to you, dog. Mad Cartoon, thanks for the coverage. Good vibes, JD, Jackson, Mods. Big love and respect to you. Thank you for being here. I want to thank you guys for spending a little time with me here on a Sunday night, man. I know that there's other stuff that you could be doing, so the fact that you guys want to hang out and just kick it means so much to me, man. I see Rebecca Wyman said hi. Hey, what's up? How you doing, sis? Glad to have you here. It was the same with Cosby. Many people in comedy knew what he was doing. I am not surprised about that at all whatsoever. Creatively Insane said, in a perfect world, victims could always go to the police. However, survival comes first and the person has to feel safe. Look, there are a lot of reasons why victims don't come forward in a lot of these types of situations. And like, I know a little bit about that firsthand, but there's a lot there. And it sucks. Anybody who's ever made a false allegation, I loathe you. It's the most evil thing that you can do. You're not just hurting the person that you're lying on, you're hurting the credibility of every legitimate victim out there. You are making it harder for them to get justice for what was done to them if you go and you make a false allegation. It's just really disgusting. Trev, I see you, man. I love you, bro. It's good to have you here. Thank you for throwing up the link to Blood on the Razor Wire, man. Trev, if you could also throw up a link for Blue and the Outlaw Feminist, that would be amazing. We talked earlier about Sis. And if you guys want to go and follow somebody who's really incredible and like family in this community, we got Chad here from Blood on the Razor Wire, and we got the Outlaw Feminist Blue. You guys won't regret it. Blue said, thank you. I'm here for JD and his people. We love you, sis. We're glad you're here. So we've got the 1-8. If Vince is convicted, would he go to a normal prison or a special one? That's a really good question. And honestly, I wish that Chad was on here with us right now, because Chad has a lot more experience with federal penitentiary than I do. Like, I did my time state. It was the state of Oregon versus JD DeLay. But then when he did federal time, it was the feds that picked him up. The feds run their shop a little bit different. It really depends, I believe, from what I've learned about the federal penitentiary and the federal system. I think it depends on the violence of his crime. There's a lot of different factors, and like where he would go would depend on a lot of different things. But like, this isn't like one of those crimes that's like Ian Bick's crime. If y'all know Ian Bick, he's a good friend of mine. Ian Bick got caught up on financial crimes. It was a few $100,000 or $500,000. I don't think it's just going to be that. I think that looking into it, I think that's what triggered the investigation was the financial crimes. But I think that it's going to go into, in my estimation, I think that once they got in there and saw what the money was going to, that they're going to be looking into the crimes that he committed. They might have talked to Miss Grace, and that's part of why she decided to come forward with all of this. They might have prompted her to do so. They might be investigating all of these, and trafficking a woman across state lines, trafficking anyone, human trafficking anyone across state lines is a federal offense. I think he's going to get hit on that. I think he's going to get hit on the financial crimes. He might do state time as well for, the grape and some of the assaultive behaviors. But it's hard for me to say where he would be if he went to the feds. Cam Reynolds said, SA survivor, I don't get how people put this on anyone. My neighbor was put away for funny charges. Her lawyer got her jacket changed. It pisses me off that she made it out okay and still has her kids. That's crazy. She still has her kids. Hold up. I think I lost one from Sensavera Media, and I'm going back to look for it. Babe, did you by any chance get the screenshot on Sensavera Media? Firewall Dragon. Johnny Ace was named in the lawsuit as one of the three-way partners. Ooh! Although he was addressed by his real name of John yeah, I do know exactly who he is. I didn't know that he had the nickname Johnny Ace. Thank you so much for putting me up on game. Yeah, because all I read was John Laurinaitis. 100%. 100% that dude is all up in this paperwork. He's going to get hemmed up. Sense of Air Media said, Wikipedia claims that there's no cure for chomos, but I disagree, and I bet you do too. Wood chipper. So you guys, I'm super excited. I just want to share this with you. I've been really stoked about this wood chipper shirt that we're putting out soon. I'm working with the guy who designed my last shirt, which I think is incredible. You know, it's like me and there's a burning prison and the gates have been crashed down. That's out right now. It looks like a metal band t-shirt. We're doing the wood chipper shirt and it is looking so good. He sent me the black and white preview of it today, and I'm so stoked on it. So look out for that. That's coming really soon. Mark Burchard said, from co-founder of Bikers Against Child Abuse organization. Hell yeah, man. Yo, Bikers Against Child Abuse. Baka is great. I love those guys. So let's see. Where are we at right now? For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, we're talking about Vince McMahon. He was was he the founder? I'm not sure, but he was like heavily involved. He was like the main dude for the WWE for a long time. And he has a $2.7 billion net worth. At the moment, he was paying out 4 different settlements with NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, from women that he had sexually assaulted. It was supposed to be a total, supposedly it was a total of $12 million, but when the feds looked into it, really he owed $19.6 million. And the reason the feds looked into it is because he was taking the payments out of the WWE's money instead of his own. Dude is worth $2.7 billion, according to the internet. The internet always gets people's net worth wrong, and people's net worth fluctuates. I'm not saying that that's like a super accurate, but it's a safe bet the dude's a billionaire, and he's stealing money to pay off lawsuits to keep women that he sexually assaulted quiet, to hush them up. That's insane to me. It's insane to me. Just the fact that he could pay off that many women to be able to cover his actions for these things that he's done throughout the years is insane to me. So $19.6 million. And the feds launched this investigation. It was federal prosecutors and the SEC. There's probably charges coming from that. Now, if he just gets hit with those charges, he could very well go to a minimum Fed camp, financial charges like that. A lot of the time, you're going to end up going to like a minimum Fed camp, like the place that Ian Bick went. One of those places, it's kind of nice. They're kind of nice to you. You know what I'm saying? Like you got a salad bar. I ain't never had no salad bar in prison, dog. They didn't ask us if we wanted seconds. Ian was like, they'd ask us every day if we wanted seconds with all our meals. That's crazy as hell. But we didn't get none of that type of treatment. So he could go to, if it was just financial crimes, he'd probably get shot to a pretty decent joint, federal penitentiary. But I'm betting that they're looking at him for the human trafficking, and that's probably going to be a thing. Ohio Trucker, I found a semi-trailer that was a wood chipper. It can chew through 10 trees at a time. Imagine what that does to chomos. Yes, my dude. Big love and respect, man. It's always good to see you here, Ohio Trucker. Homicide Jack, what's up, man? How you doing? Thank you so much, brother. Keep up the good work, JD. My father was a retired police chief and a CO when a neighbor victimized my youngest sister, and she's never been the same. The coward went and shot himself in the head when he got caught. Homicide Jack, I'm sorry for your family, man. That's terrible. And a lot of those cowards do take that way out because they know exactly what's going to happen to them when they get to prison. And I hope that they do. You would think that would be a deterrent. Unfortunately, I don't really think that there's a proper deterrent that involves them still breathing from, reoffending. I think that, dead ones don't reoffend. We have scientific proof to back up that dead chomos never reoffend. It's 100% foolproof. Kids are safe from dead chomos. I mean, do I need to say more? It makes perfect sense to me. Cam Reynolds, he's worth that much from his stake in the company. Yeah, that's the thing when you look up somebody's net worth on the internet, my net worth on the internet would probably be wildly different than like what I have liquid. We all know that, but for him to be stealing money to pay for to be able to pay for girls to be quiet and not tell anybody that he did terrible things to him, like he's stealing that money. You're already paying him hush money, bro. You'd want to probably keep that on the low, keep it on the legit, and not let it get out. Just my assumption. I mean, I don't know. I've never had one of those types of cases or had to pay anybody off, so it's not something I have experience with, but it seems like you wouldn't be a complete and total fucktard about it. Just my thing. Cat Loaf, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Can you speak on what happens in Club Fed? Man, I can't. I've never been there, homie. Like, I don't know. I've never been to the Feds in a full-time, like real deal prison or a Club Fed type of situation. Where I went, so I went straight from intake. Intake is like the first prison that they're going to send you to. Anytime you do prison time, whether it's Fed or state, they're going to have like a reception center or an intake where you go while they classify you. Classifying you is like, okay, so what are your health risks? What are your mental health risks? They don't care about your mental health risks. They just say that, just so you know. That the extent of the mental health is, do you want to harm yourself or anybody else? And if you're like, no, I don't, then they're like, okay, cool. And if you're like, yeah, I really do, they're like, okay, don't talk about that because we'll have to send you somewhere worse. Literally, that's the extent of mental health services. And they look and see if you're in a gang, they analyze what your charges are, and then they just shoot you wherever they want to anyway. So I went straight to a medium max. Like, it's, not a full-on max, but it's like gladiator school. And it was a state gladiator school. And then they tried me at a minimum for a couple months and then shot me straight to max because I kept getting in trouble. So I don't know anything about Feds, though. Shooter McGee said Ryback called out Triple H and John Cena also. Really? Really? See, I don't know who Triple H is. I know who John Cena is because he played in that Suicide Squad movie. What? Peacemaker. Yeah, he was great in Peacemaker. I hope he's not a dirty bastard, bro. I hope he's not a dirty bastard. I'd hate to not ever want to watch some Peacemaker ever again. That would make me sad. I'd be sad in my pants, bro.
Did you miss that one?
Mr. Waifu Taker. Can't wait for the WWE roster with Vince McMahon in a wood chipper match. Yeah, Mr. Waifu Taker. I know it'd be way too far for wrestling standards, but still, wood chipper. I agree with you. That's what we want to see. That's what the people really want. Give us what we want. Let's see. So we also got Zyrtec? Is that how you pronounce it? Zyrtec? I don't know. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm sorry if I mispronounce. I love the work that you've been doing, boss. Keep it up. I appreciate you being here and being part of our community, man. Big love and respect to you. Evil Jabberwocky said, it's not surprising to me as a wrestling fan in the 90s till now, lots of WWE women's storylines were downright borderline SA happening. That's ridiculous. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. See, I've never been a big wrestling dude. There's not that I find anything wrong with it. I just, it never struck me. But yeah. And people will try to normalize things like that by presenting it in Hollywood with flashy stuff like that and everything. It sounds like Vince's influence in that has been there for a long time, and hopefully we could get him straight into a prison, straight into a wood chipper, and then wrestling can turn into something like Doper, man, where they don't have those types of narratives and stuff. Although it does make a compelling narrative, that's not something we need to normalize to something that is also marketed to children. I know that like wrestling has a large adult fan base, but a lot of kids love wrestling too. And they don't need to be hearing about that and having it become something that they get like desensitized to. It isn't right. Mr. Waifu Taker, JD, you'll love my super chat. Okay, so we just read that. I love you, homie. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you. And thank you, Jax, for bringing my attention to it. She found it. Firewall Dragon. Would the feds be able to get Vince even if the lawsuits were to somehow get sorted out of court? Look, if they get, it doesn't matter if they get settled or not. If the feds have enough proof of the crimes, they're going to hit them with charges. If they could get the conviction, they're going to hit them with charges. And I believe that probably since they've already been able to establish that he was taking money from the WWE to pay these girls off for things, he probably already has an indictment with his name on it sitting somewhere waiting for them to finish the investigation about the trafficking. That would be my guess. That would be my best guesstimation. This is, I'm not speaking on facts here right this second. I don't know any of this stuff for sure. As far as like how they're going to proceed, you can never guess with the feds, but my prediction would be that they're waiting until they can do a fully rounded investigation on the trafficking allegations so they can hit them with all of them at once. Because the feds do move like that. That is like their MO. The Kairos Tribe, men's podcast. Hey, what's up, fam? How you doing? People who get abused as a child need to get help, 1,000%. And we need to have services for them. We also need to break down the stigma so that they can come forward, so that they feel more comfortable going to somebody and being able to talk to them about it. But, the unfortunate thing is that abusers threaten you. An abuser will tell you your parents aren't going to love you anymore. Your abuser will tell you things like I was told that well, this is God's not going to like this. You're going to go to hell if you tell anybody that this happened. It's crazy, but we need to have, that's why it's really important to have open flows of communication with your child so that they always feel safe to come forward to you about anything that happens so it can get dealt with in real time so that it doesn't continue to happen to them. Three Flying Monkeys. I never watched WWE. Thank fuck. Appreciate you, dog. Hell yeah. Let's see. Charles Goodwin. Vince covered up for the murders of superstars. The superstars committed. This is nothing. And I did see some stuff about that too, but I would need to get a little bit deeper into that to be able to come forward and confidently talk about it. I'm not someone who likes to talk about stuff that I'm not informed on fully. So, at a future date, I'll be looking more into that and be talking more about that. But I do know that there's a lot of that implicated. So, if the feds were to be able to establish any of that, he would be he very easily could be put on a conspiracy to commit murder charge. Conspiracy charges are very simple. All that has to happen is I have to have knowledge that there was a crime and I didn't do anything to report it. So if you call me and you're like, hey, we gonna murk this fool, dog. I need you to come through. And I'm like, no, I don't believe in murder. I don't want to be involved in any type of murder. Leave me alone. I gotta go. And then I put down the phone and I don't call somebody to report that. That makes me a co-conspirator. I can get just as much time as they do if they go forward with that murder for just not picking up the phone and reporting it. Conspiracy charges with the feds are super easy to establish. You just have to establish knowledge. Sense of Air Media. I wonder how long Vince McMahon can hold his breath in boiling water. Only one way to find out. Yeah, my dog. You're creative, bro. I love that. Torcus 100. Big fan, JD. Homie, I don't have fans. I have friends and family. So whichever you're comfortable with being, here's a big-ass hug, man. We're glad to have you here. I was arrested in December of 2022, and I'm having a really hard time adjusting and can't find work. I appreciate all the work that you do, and seeing you start your own business gives me hope. Look, I've never had a problem finding work. I could always find work if I humbled myself to it. But I understand that there's also factors like where you're at, there's some places where it's just going to be harder to find work than others and everything. To be able to find work that was going to pay me what I needed to survive, I had to start my own business. And also I wanted to be able to do things my way, the treatment centers that I was working for only accepted AA or NA. And I wanted to be able to work with people that doesn't work for, which meant smart recovery. It's a really freeing thing to start your own business. I highly recommend it to anybody who has the means to be able to do so. And I believe in you, brother. Freedom Dude, like Epstein, who is friends who they would hang around and they never work alone, especially if you make money like that. Don't listen, a lone wolf word op BS. Facts, bro, facts. 100%. They always got co-conspirators. They always got some birds of a feather that be flocking together, bro. And so there could be other people that get exposed in this too. Right now, babe, was it just Laurinaitis and who else was named? It was Laurinaitis. It was McMahon. Who else was named? Junior Vasquez said, JD, my little sister's boyfriend had a side chick for 3 years. He murdered her mom and shot her 14 times. My sis is still hung up on him. Should I get the wood chipper for him? I suggest, Junior, my friend, that you work on trying to help your sister to get over this so that she's not in a situation where she still has feelings for this piece of shit. And don't do something that could put you in prison and take you away from your sister, because it sounds like she's in a vulnerable position and that she needs her brother, dog. That's my honest advice. Out of love and out of care and concern, you going to prison is not going to help your sister in any way, shape, or form, dog.
Okay, so these are the court documents right here.
Yes.
The defendants are the WWE, McMahon, and John, well, I can't see his last name. I'm not going to try.
Laurinaitis. John Laurinaitis, Vince McMahon, and the WWE is actually named as a defendant.
Yes.
That's crazy. I think that they're going to have to establish that the WWE had some type of knowledge that this was going on, which may or may not be too difficult, considering the money was coming from their accounts to keep these women quiet. It might be a pretty easy step, just depending on what they actually have in those documents, what type of proof, what type of documentation. Firewall Dragon said, take everything Ryback says with a grain of salt. He's done nothing but whine, complain, and lie ever since he left the company. Okay. Jeremy Costa, finally catching alive. Yeah, bro, what's up? Been following the Danny Bastardson stuff and love what you're doing. Much love and respect from a Texas combat vet. A Texas combat vet, bro. Big love and respect, man. Thank you so much for your service and your sacrifice. So glad to have you here, man. Veterans are my people, dog. Some of you guys know that my pops did 2 tours in Vietnam, combat Marine. So veterans have always been my people, at a special place in my heart because of the way that I've watched my father, who is my hero, struggle with his mental health, struggle with what happened to him over there. And, like the services that we need to provide to veterans and we don't, it's an atrocity. Sense of Vera Media. Oh, we read that one all right. We read that one already. Let's see, where are we at right now? Vince has definitely covered up many criminal happenings from wrestlers who were considered superstars. Well, and that's, the crazy thing is that he took this girl, groomed her, and then was offering her to other dudes. Like, when he wanted to seal the deal with Brock Lesnar, he offered her to him and was like, you could do whatever you want to her. She'll do whatever you want. She'll go along with it. He beat her down mentally and emotionally and traumatized her physically to the point where he was just throwing her out there like she was some sort of asset to try to seal deals and to please his wrestlers and shit. That's wild, and it's disgusting behavior, man. That's pretty incredible to me. Abby says, no, reporting chomos is not snitching. Chomos aren't people. There's no part of the criminal, convict, mafia, mob, any of those codes. There's no code on the face of the fucking planet that chomos are covered by. Ever. They garner no respect and no protections. There is not a single thing in the world that should stop you from reporting a chomo if you need to. If you need to report a chomo, run and do it now. If you have some sort of conflicted feelings about, hand me the phone number, bitch. I'll call 911 right now. I'll use Jax's phone. My phone doesn't have those numbers on it. I'll call on him. I don't care, bro. And y'all know my history. I'll get on the phone right now if that means a child isn't going to end up getting raped tonight. 1,000. Come at me on it. Vince definitely, okay, we read that one. All knower. Oh my God, JD Delay is finally covering wrestling. Homie, you guys asked me to. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing it, bro. I looked into it. I told you guys that I would look into it. Anytime that I get requests, like mad requests for something, I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna see what I can do, especially, when it comes to things that have to do with crime. You know what I'm saying? You guys asked me to do this and I'm here with it, bro. I'm with the business. So yeah, we talking about this. I know that I did a short about it, but there's so much to cover. This is such a crazy case. And I feel like this is probably just the tip of the iceberg and there's going to be a lot more.
It's 67 pages long.
67 pages. This court document that Jax is looking through right now.
And it's just that one case at 67 pages. That isn't even to cover all of the other allegations.
Yeah, this is just the Janelle Grace case. The Kairos Tribe Men's Podcast, especially with boys, it's hard to tell your parents. 1000%. There's a much bigger stigma involving dudes and sexual assault. And I think that that's a lot of why Diddy has gotten away with what Diddy has gotten away with for so long. He'll videotape, he'll drug dudes, he'll do stuff to them, he'll videotape it, and he'll be like, oh, bro, you want the whole rap game to know that you were getting plugged up the butt? Because there's that big stigma. And, even if you come out and you're like, this was done to me, I'm a victim, that's still going to fuck your career, bro, in rap. You know what I'm saying? It's a game ender for these dudes. So I really respect that Lil Ron came forward and wasn't willing to take money off the side to let dudes slide on it. I really respect that about Lil Rod. Lil Rod is his name. I thought it was Lil Ron, and I was thinking it couldn't be Lil Rod because who would want to name themselves Lil Rod? But it was Lil Rod. There's so much about that case that's just zingers, bro. I have a lot of problems. I'm 12 years old up here. Firewall Dragon. Ryback had a reputation for being reckless in the ring and injuring people. Wrestlers don't like him, and he's still salty about that to this day. Thank you for putting me up on game, because I don't know that background history, man. I really genuinely appreciate that. There are rumors in wrestling that Vince pimped his daughter out also. John Corpy, okay, thank you for bringing this up, because I have read that several people have been commenting how much his latest victim, Janelle Grace, looks like his daughter. Janelle Grant. People are saying Janelle Grant looks just like Vince's daughter. Is this some weird thing where he's living out fantasies that he has against his own daughter? That's crazy. Keith Duty said JD's soft. Only until I get in your mouth. That thing grows, bro. It's a grower, not a shower. You'll see. JD, you should watch Vice's Dark Side of the Ring. Thank you. I appreciate the recommendation. I will. Jeremy Costa, finally catching alive. Okay, we already read that, homie. Sorry. Earl Davidson, thank you so much, dog. Hella appreciate the support. Big love and respect to you. Let's see. We got Zach the Witch Doctor's in the house. Oh boy, what's up, man? Let's go. Zach said, I wish we could do something like the scene towards the end of The Godfather. Vince, EPD, Maxwell, Diddy, much love to everyone. You already know, bro. How is EPD still out there doing his thing, man? That's crazy as hell to me. There's so many of them too, bro. There's just so many of them. The grooming allegations with Usher and Diddy and all of that, and then the allegations of Usher grooming, Bieber. There's so much crazy stuff involved in that whole situation. Alien Big Mac. As a Marine, I found out my brother was taken advantage of as a kid, and I'm pissed. I 100% feel that, brother. I 100% feel that. And big love and respect to you, man. Vinyl 666. I think you'd appreciate, I reported a few nasty sex offenders in my area and got their Facebook deleted. Hell yeah. You know what I like to do when I find them and they on Facebook? I like to find how they'll post family members, they'll tag family members and where they go to church and where they work. I like to send their whole rap sheet and shit, and post that to everybody that they know and expose them to the whole community. Because people probably know, but if you put it on a public post, you find the company they work for and you post his mugshot with his charges so they can't say they didn't know, it inspires them to do some firing. And that's a lot of fun to me. Jeremy Costa, forgot to even ask, what's your take on Audrey Cunningham stuff out of Texas? The 9-year-old girl killed by the roommate of her deadbeat dad. The Audrey Cunningham case is one of the most tragic things that I've seen in a really long time. That absolutely breaks my heart. There's so much to unpack there. And you guys know that I look at a lot of these cases a lot of the time. I'm constantly doing shorts about these types of things. This one is one of those ones that hurts my soul. It hurts my heart for this little girl. And it's hard for me to really even look at the case details. But, I know that he killed her in front of her brother and sister and the mother, the stepmother, or mother-in-law, whatever the case is, the stepmother. Then he drove to a Burger King and ate in the parking lot with her corpse there, and then carried her around in a gym bag, stored her for months, and he has not released the location of her body. He said the whole time that it wasn't him that killed her, but he did do this, he did do that. And they got him on the guilty of the murder now. And I think that he's been saving the location of the body to try to get out of the death penalty. So we're going to see how that goes with that. But that whole thing breaks my heart, homie. That poor little girl and her poor brothers and sisters, dude. How traumatized do they have to be for life? Alien Big Nack, appreciate you, homie. Thank you so much. Let's see. Who's Sep? Do we have somebody in here spamming? I just see everybody saying, shut up, Sep. Earl Davidson, I just saw that super again, bro. Thank you so much. Genuinely, that helps out so much, bro. Well, you guys, it's been about an hour, and I think we're going to jump off here and have some dinner, man. I hope that you guys have a blessed weekend. Had a blessed weekend. We walking into a new week, and I want you guys to walk into that bitch with confidence. You guys are going to kill this week, man. This week belongs to everyone here. It's all of ours. So go out there and do some shit, but be nice to people, man. Love on some people and accomplish your shit. Smash your goals, set new ones, smash those. And I'm going to be seeing you guys real soon, man. We're going to be keeping up the lives. I know that I'm going to be doing one on Wednesday night. And I might do one before then if we get more news that I feel like we just got to talk about, because y'all know that I can talk. Ohio Trucker 1 said, I've busted truckers who were buying children for company. I'm old school, so I take the code of the road very seriously. Many drivers have children, so we don't tolerate them either. I feed Mr. Chippy. That's why we brothers, bro. I love you so much. All right, y'all. Till the next one, I love you. I appreciate you. One love, y'all. Be good or be good at it, baby.